Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. Come on in, sit down in our chat room, pull up a cup of virtual coffee or tea, put your order in for psychic dessert for later today. What are people's favorite desserts? As we're waiting for everyone to come in, and we started just a minute or so earlier. Flambe. Sherry trifle, pudding. Ooh, lots of great ideas here. So today is going to be a call in, ask anything you want, no holds barred, pull the curtain back show. Now who's got the guts to ask those questions? So I ask you to ponder that internally as all these other people are going to raise their hands because they want instant gratification. What's my galactic history? So if anybody wants to be a caller today, or no matter where you are at, to be a caller, you must be here in the Zoom room. And Robert is going to put up some information for how you to enter the Zoom room. So if you are listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, or any other place, and want to be a part of the answering questions in the chat space, and then actual callers, you must be in the Zoom room. All right, so Robert, just leave that information up there. We got a bunch of people that have already raised their hands. We're going to ask more people to raise your hands. Be adventuresome. Call in and ask those burning desire questions of how the universe really works. So Robert, let's spin up that wheel of callers and see what the universe wants to bring to us today.
All righty, welcome everyone to the show. Ivan Bogner, you're first on the show today.
Ivan, are you there? Going once.
Oh, hello. Hi,
hey,
Andrew. Can you
there
hear
you
me?
are. Yes, I can. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Zagreb, Croatia.
Zagreb, Croatia. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Wow, wait, I'm so excited. I wasn't sure if you were going to pick me first, but I'm glad you did. I don't know. I was thinking if you could maybe look into my Akashic record, tell me something about my soul family. Tell me about, I don't know, I have so many questions. I don't know where to start.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 27. 28, actually, sorry.
Did you go to university?
Yeah, I did.
For what?
Well, I was doing programming for 3 years. Then I quit at the last year. I didn't think I want to do that in life. And then I finished management, human resources, which I'm doing right now professionally.
So you ended up with a degree in computer science and something else?
Actually,
no?
I never finished the last few exams I have in programming, and then I just ended up doing human resources. I got a degree in management.
Okay, you got it. Now I understand. And how long you been doing that for?
For 2 years, I guess, professionally, yeah.
Okay. And have you been wanting to move out of Croatia, or do you want to stay in Croatia?
Well, I'm not sure. I guess that was supposed to be one of the questions as well. I don't know.
I'm asking you because I'm just tuning into you right now and figuring out what's going to be the right past life answer that's going to connect to what's going on with you.
Oh. Well, I've had some thoughts about maybe going more north in Europe because of economic reasons, because Croatia isn't doing so well as a country. Even though I have a pretty good job, I guess I'm not making as much as I probably should be to have a normal living standard. So I have some struggles financially sometimes. Can't really afford some of the things I would like to, like some techniques I want to learn, workshops and things like that, especially if they're being done outside of Croatia. Because
so if you could move, where would you be eligible to go to?
Well, since Croatia is part of the European Union, I could probably go anywhere inside the EU.
Minus Britain.
Yeah, minus Great Britain because of Brexit, I think.
So anywhere in the EU.
Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Greece is no longer in the EU.
I think they still are. They're kind of annexed a bit to be financially because they were pulling a lot of money out of the EU, but I think that they're pretty much still in there.
I'm not exactly certain. I know they're running their own drachma. So the Balkan areas are kind of limited for you.
Okay.
And it'll be a long time before any of the Balkan states are going to be running any kind of real modern technology programs.
Okay.
So there are a variety of past lives that are, for lack of better words, interfering with you right now.
Okay.
In one of these lifetimes, you were how do I describe this? So you were a general in the armies for the Turkish empires. So early on, the Balkan states were seen as battleground states in which you could test armies. And for a long period of time, you were on the warlord side, constantly preparing war. And when that era of war and history ended, generally through the Crusades, etc., and when the Crusades really ended and the Turkish Empire was solidified, you had mass slaughtering going on. And that energy is trying to drive you into a different form of success, which is success at any cost. Does that make sense to you?
It does, I guess.
Your local environment, obviously the Balkan countries have organized crime issues, as do most of the Mediterranean countries. So you could be making money hand over foot illegally when you're not. So what can you really do in your country that's brand new and wouldn't be, let's just say, taken over by unseelie forces? Could you introduce a new product and it not be, make it to market the way you want it?
Well, I guess anything is possible. I was thinking of actually what I want to really do and what I was trying to do for a time. Working with people in a way that helps them in any way, shape, or form that they can actually accept at that point in time and space. I was thinking of maybe learning.
None of those countries are ready for that. They're still controlled radically by the church. Unless you had safe zones where they would allow people to create those practices, you will run into a lot of areas where it can get very nasty, the response back to it. Not all the areas.
Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped trying. I was doing a combination of some energy work with. I actually finished classes for yoga instructor and the variety of massage therapy with energy work.
Great
Reiki,
skills.
Karuna,
Great skills to have.
Excalibur.
Do you have any? Do you have any dancing skills?
When nobody's watching, yeah.
you got to break that. When you add dance to your repertoire of shamanic tools, it will greatly add to your capacity to just dump energy into a situation where it needs it really fast, or take it out, or add to it, or work your alchemy very differently.
Okay, I'll work on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was really thinking of moving to Ireland. I don't know. It seems like I was there once 2 years ago for like a summer vacation, and the nature and the people, they kind of just took me away. It was beautiful in every sense of the word. So I was maybe thinking of moving there.
Have you traveled? Have you traveled much?
Well, it depends on how you define much, I guess. I was in Turkey once, Ireland, Germany, Austria, Croatia, the Balkans in general, the UK, and that's it, I guess.
So how much of Germany have you actually seen?
I was born in Germany, so I saw most of it, I guess.
You saw most of it, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what is causing this misalignment of energy, and it still relates back to this warlord era lifetime. So what were your parents like?
Oh, that's a complicated story. Well, my mom, she was very controlling, really strong character, very demanding, kind of.
Did she have a title?
Yes, she was a biotechnical engineer. I think, yeah.
She's highly educated. She didn't have a wealthy title, a woman's title. What it was? Did anybody in the lineage have a title?
I don't think so. Most of my ancestors from my mom's side were living on farms until I think she was the first in a long time that got a high education from that side of the family.
What about your dad?
He's got a degree in law, but he never worked it because of the wartime in Croatia. And when he was just about to get a job in that area, the war started. So he's kind of in between, but he also has a degree.
So if you're going to move, you're going to have to move someplace that's close to the ocean.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And if not right on top of it. As for starting a business in a community in a new country, that takes a lot of balls. And you have this throughout your history. I can think of a dozen lives where you left something behind from somewhere and started brand new somewhere else and made a great success out of yourself. And I think it's one of the times that you look at this as the time of pilgrimage in you, that you're going to do the extended search of where to go. Even if where you land at first is not your final home, it's okay. But your time spent in Serbia is now drawing to an end. And you get to make the end date. Okay. And I think your life is going to take off once you get out of these constraints. These energetic constraints that keep you from just being able to learn on your own. You've already got all the skills. You can go and practice this anywhere. You just need to pay for insurance and get a massage table. It's one of the cheapest industries to get into. You have all these other skill sets. You will build a brand and a clientele without a problem wherever you go. Keep a high business sense when you're trying to start your business, giving them as much benefit as possible, but at the same time knowing when to hire someone too. So you can make more money, because ultimately doing 40 sessions a week, 4 times a week, that's a lot of sessions at the end of the month, but that's what you're going to need to do to survive.
Okay.
You know, there are some doctors that imagine doing 600 clients a month. You couldn't perceive that. It's too much for any one person to be able to do.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. But our doctors of today average 600 per month. The people that have PhDs. And thank God that you found your way into healing. Some of those doctors are going to need people like you and me and the other healers that are on the market now. Okay. Plan your exit. Start your new business. Even if you take some money with you, you could even find a small little shop to start with and open. You can get a same job at, if there's any, I don't know. I mean, most of the resort towns are closed down, but you can always try that too.
Okay. I'll think about it, definitely. I mean, I was thinking of maybe moving out anyway, but I never got to a point where I really made the decision, because I was, wishy-washy in between. But
you got to be brutal honest with yourself. Are you going to be able to maintain the clients that you want out of the area that you're living at the price that you want to make?
No, definitely not. Definitely, you can't really.
Right. You can't survive.
Yeah.
If you want to do that as a job and as a career, you have to next level yourself here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're not the first person to tell me this, but I definitely take it from a different level when you say it. So yeah, okay.
And you're going to notice once you get out of that zone and recover, how much was actually working against you energetically. When you finally say that this is my new home, when you validated that energy inside you, you'll begin to realize how much that country was working against you as a healer. And that's not for everyone in Serbia. It's just for him and the ancestral relations that he has.
I'm actually living in Croatia, but Serbia is like the neighboring country of
Yeah,
Croatia.
well, that
It's
area,
close
sorry.
enough.
Yeah.
No problem.
So did you have any other questions that you wanted to ask?
Well, yeah, several. I have a few dreams. I would like to hear your take on them, if you would like to.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, the first thing is that I don't really understand fully is when I was a child, I had very vivid dreams. And at some point, I think I was still living in Germany, or maybe just moved to Croatia. I was about 7 or 8 years old. And for about a month, I was dreaming the same dream. I was waking up somewhere in between. I'm not sure where it was, like the dream world or some other astral plane, but I was in the body of a small child, like the one I had at that point. And every single night, the same person would come up to me in a cloak, and this person would stab me to death with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Every time for like a month. And I was going crazy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't dream. I was afraid of going to sleep. And I would actually wake up sometimes with like bruises on my physical body. And at that point, I just
This is why you shouldn't be living in Croatia. Okay, this is why you shouldn't be living there. Your soul is targeted by the ancestors of that area, which makes it like an energy on you that attracts predators' spirits. What you were experiencing was an actual previous life in which you were living in that area, and you were being ritually sacrificed lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to fuel a dark god.
Oh. Okay. I mean,
and
at some point,
you've been entrapped in the child sacrifice situations that are all over the Balkans. It's a common theme there.
Okay.
Okay. All the secret societies had their Plan B homes there. Okay. And what a Plan B homes is where they go to get to be evil, with nothing to oversee them.
Well, at some point that stopped, and at that point, I think I was just subconsciously so afraid of sleeping or dreaming that I just
It's siphoned all the energy you could possibly get off of you, and then moved on to the next one. That's what they do, and the trauma's still embedded in you. But you need to heal that trauma, and you can by identifying the memory and summoning it back into your mind and all the fear that it created with you, and knowing today it was an external entity with the power of today and the you of today. You can ban that from being in your young body and leaving these traumas, and begin to unravel the fear trauma that was sent in by this entity overloading you with energy. And then every attack you ever had, you had hundreds. It took them a while to break you down.
Yeah, at some point I just stopped dreaming for like years. I mean, I probably did, but I wouldn't remember anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just wake up blank and like really tired.
But you could reclaim that energy now. You just have to know how to properly use the spiritual courts of equity. Okay, so that you make contractual severances between you and those offending dreaming entities.
Well, I was starting to do some of your revocations, and I'd feel like it'd be really weird. At some point, I'd be getting such a feeling like this huge pillar of energy would just be streaming into me, like I was getting back a debt I was due to be paid for years, and it was really liberating. So
you got to start doing them on a regular basis. And you also got to do them where you record them in your own voice, and you go back and listen to them in a meditative state, and truly listen and start discerning what you're doing in that time. All right, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in. I got to move on to the next caller.
No problem. Thank you, Andrew.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Alrighty, Patricia Funds, your signal to unmute.
Patricia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, where are you calling from?
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I have two questions. So the first one was I was listening to a lot of your shows, and in one of the shows, one of the callers rang in, and her son was in a really bad car accident, but he survived. And from what I understood, you were saying that the son's overseer stepped in to take on the energy so that the son wouldn't die, but that overseer or spirit or entity gave up its life. So what I'm trying to understand is, did it go back into the process of reincarnation, or was it gone forever?
No, it gave up its non-linear and potentially linear existence as an Akashic record with a signature frequency match of the era of time to being solely an astral entity without a signature frequency of time. So it ended its time in time. And for it to come back, it must create a new version of itself.
Okay. I'll have to re-listen to this after the show to understand that completely. And the next thing I wanted to know was, can I get a reading around, because at the moment I feel really stuck. So can I get a reading around that?
Yes, tell me what you're stuck about.
Well, relationships, not just love relationships, like friendships and family, and job-wise, I feel like I want to change what I've been doing, but I'm drawn to the material aspects of what that job can afford me.
So it's materialism versus spiritualism.
Yes.
And you don't know how to pick the halfway in between point that
Yeah,
doesn't sacrifice your morals.
Yes.
What is the moral sacrifice?
I guess feeling like there's more. There's got to be more to it.
Now, what are you sacrificing by keeping the job versus in your spiritual side?
Inspiration, a bit of happiness.
Okay. What's the job?
Business analyst.
Are you the top business analyst in the world?
No, I wouldn't say
A wanted
that.
being?
Sorry?
So a wanted being? So what's overworking? What's overworking you?
What's overworking me? I don't know.
The repetitiveness of the job?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's all become quite quaint and predictable.
Yes.
Nothing news about it.
That's it.
It's a bunch of old fogies with no computer skills.
Yep.
Okay. You're tired of being the only one with the computer skills?
Yeah.
Do something else then. What would you do?
See, I don't know.
What equivalency is your job in other companies?
See, I could do anything I wanted to, but in my mind it's, but I'm not getting paid the same amount.
I understand that part, which is your valuation of money versus what you actually know. And since you haven't done anything that, you have no hard valuation of what to earn. Clients are cash. And for you to make significant cash, you need to be doing 40 plus clients usually a week. 30 to 40 clients per week. That's 8 sessions a day, maxed.
Clients in what?
Hour sessions. If you want to make money at this job, it's in volume. Period. And it's the people that repeat you because your work connects to them. No matter if it's healing or psychic work, it's all still comes down to the same thing. That's why a lot of people start the business and only go friends and family and don't go beyond that. And then they struggle with getting clients. Because they got to realize what they actually take to need to survive at. If you truly want to live the spiritual life, you can do that with the job that you have now. You just have to structure your life differently. But you don't want to restructure your life. You actually like it where it's at right now. You'd like a few things here or there. But you're not ready for an upset. It's okay. You can still learn spirit another way. Okay?
Yeah.
So figure out how to etch more time out solely for yourself to go and do more spiritual practices. Go and take more classes.
Okay.
Keep on educating yourself. And there'll come a moment where you'll look at the job and go, what is my heart telling me? And am I in denial or is it my truth?
Okay.
And give yourself definitive answers. What else has made you stuck?
Relationships.
Mm-hmm. Not the right person in the right place in the right time.
Okay.
How many relationships have you been in the last 15 years?
Probably one. And that didn't last very long.
Why so long?
Well, for a while there, I went through a phase where I really didn't like anyone. And like listening to your show, it's like I could identify with that. What did you call it? A hermit?
Yeah, hermit.
Like I've gone into my hermit shell and I'm really comfortable there, but I acknowledge that it has to change. But I'm struggling to change that.
And that's why you can't maintain relationships, because you've surrendered power to being the hermit. And until you reclaim it fully to be at your power at the tips of your fingers to express as free will, you'll remain the power of the hermit will have that power over you in making and maintaining relationships. Relationships are about investment of time, effort, energy, and authenticity. And for some reason, you're having a hard time being your authentic self around people. That's why you learn to hate them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So sometimes people call this roasting or this psychic CIA investigation. I can see loopholes into people's belief systems. And right now you have a couple belief systems that are creating some double negative effects around you. You're unhappy at many different layers, right?
Yes.
How could you be a healer then? Is it right for you to be a healer with all this unhappiness in you?
No.
Then accept that and work on what needs to work on, and then you'll become a healer, a healed healer. You haven't lost anything. You've gained a whole new point of view. Take the pressure off yourself. This can be one of your greatest victories, giving to yourself.
And just allow more time.
more practice, more effort, more energy. And at the same time, you got to start battling with your inner work, the inner hermit, who's got to go out there and once again learn how to meet people and talk to them and not be annoyed with them right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I acknowledge my judgment. Yes.
Okay. You're going to have to really learn how to break an external judgment because it's ingrained to you in your sympathetic. You're just going to know stuff come out of your mouth. You're like, I didn't intend to say that. It'll just come out like a program.
Okay.
Because you've been alone for 15 years. I bet if somebody were to give you a nice loving touch, and if you weren't aware they were behind you, you'd flinch.
Yes.
Okay? You couldn't sense the love coming. You got to change that. It's not the way to live.
No. Yeah.
Okay? And these are all choices to live in a happiness state. Something taught you a sadness state. And you got to unlearn that sadness state.
So is that through more meditation, more revocations?
It's dedicated ritual and ceremony time in which you're beginning the journey of purging out from you those negative attributes that you've identified as limiting in your life. That's self-healing by yourself, looking at the programming, doing the ritual magic of taking it away, breaking contracts, vows, and agreements. That's why I give all these free revocations for you to go into those moments and face your inner rebels and begin to take back your power from those aspects of yourself that seem to ruin things for you.
Okay.
There's a rampant aspect in you that doesn't want you to have anybody in your life, that wants you to be this monk energy, which is total garbage, which is martyring yourself, losing so much of the experience without the friends and family. There are perfect people out there for you. You just have to be a match for them also. The universe doesn't just walk in and you go, here's your soul family, goodbye. We got to earn that and can maintain the earning of that. And those are the things you have to tell the inner hermit inside you. The awakening means I talk to people and I don't innately just annoyed with them. Whatever program that's in with me, I ratchet down your capacity to control my language. Take your authority back.
Okay. All right.
That's the type of ritual and ceremony you need to do. And you just can't do it once. You have to do it several times till you get really good at it.
Yeah.
Okay? And then learn how to do it as a standard maintenance every month or two, or twice a month. You go back to that same frequency and you go over the things you've gone over before, and you look for the new things to go over in yourself.
Okay.
Okay? Fire ceremonies too. Can you get to do an outdoor fire?
Probably not.
What about an indoor one?
Is that with the steam?
No, like an actual fire.
I live in a unit, so I don't think so.
Okay, you don't know anyone with a backyard that's got a fire pit or anything like that.
I know people with a backyard, but for me to go there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get in. All right. Well, you could do the same thing with a pot of soup on your stove. Believe it or not. Okay? And make that your ritual and your ceremony. The putting of the prayers and the energies and the intentions into that soup.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
You've got to learn alchemy, and you've got to learn some other ways of transmuting the energies around you. All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling, and I got to move on to the next caller.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Alrighty, Julie Saint Michel, you're up next with Andrew.
Julie, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from today?
Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Alberta, Canada. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
Thank you. I'm amazed that I got through. Okay, I have a few questions. The first one, I wanted to ask about dreams. I repeatedly have a stress dream. As of recently, I've been having it quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
I used to work as a waitress. I used to be desperate for money, stressed out, working, and I repeatedly have that dream. And so I'm wondering why these dreams occur and what I can do. What am I a vibrational match?
It's the slave energy that is connecting to other past lives in which you had the same slave energy mentality.
Yeah.
Work to the bone, desperate to do anything. And that state of being in state of emanation is saying that there's something significantly missing in your life, and that's the capacity to be able to love yourself.
Wow.
Were you abused as a child?
Yeah.
See, your capacity to love yourself. Therefore, you're forever in this torture of the energy of just barely in survival, just barely in survival.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to break that journey. You got to learn to thrive.
So how do I do that?
Day by day, week by week, there's no cookie cutter master healing that can pull it all out at once.
Okay.
Just like I talked with the last caller, you got to begin somewhere. When ritual and ceremony helps you begin to identify it. What I can recommend is a fire ceremony in which you do what's called telling your story to the fire. Have you heard me talk about that before?
I have not, no.
All right, so for the new people that are around, the telling your story to the fire is one of the first things shamans and indigenous cultures learned. They learned that fire was the first shaman, and it taught them many ways of being heard and having the great ideas come out. And when you make fire your friend and are able to go into the personal, human, and energetic trust space between you and the fire, that which you say is blended with the fire. And the truths that come out from you telling your story, who I was, what I have been in the past, what I've been working on in the present, the different trials and tribulations that I've gone through. And you try to name as many as you can. And oftentimes you can't do it in one ceremony. It may take 6, 7, or 8, and you may need to take notes in between so that you can get the totality of your truth being told, so that reclaiming your authority is much easier. That's one of the fundamental tools that you'll be able to use to claw back power and authority, to say, I can be in my body now, and I do not have to be in this barely surviving mode.
So how would I mean, do I have to go make a fire somewhere, or can I do that in my home, or?
You can do it in your home. The fire just adds a lot of beneficial energy to it.
Okay.
Do you have a backyard at all?
No, I don't.
That's right, you don't. Can you get a cabin rental somewhere?
I guess I could, yeah.
If you could do that, where it's got a fire for you to use, do that.
Okay.
Okay? And you gotta make it your personal time where you gotta go to the in-depth and the truths that you do know and list them all, so that you can actually see them as a counts of the victories and the trials and tribulations that you've been through. I'm saying, oh my God, I survived all this.
Do you have that on your website somewhere where it's that information, or just so I can go back to it?
No, not specifically on the website. Just look in some of the titles of the shows. I frequently talked about this last year, telling your story to the fire.
Okay. I will look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so sort of these dreams are actually although I wake up stressed out, they're actually kind of a gift to me because they're telling me about.
Well, they're haunting dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Self-haunting and external haunting.
Mm-hmm.
Something's feeding off of you. But you're not giving it the same quality of fuel you were giving it before.
No, I'm not.
Okay, because you're burnt out.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do for a job?
Well, I was cleaning houses for a while. I'm not doing that anymore right now, but I was. that was another slave
Another
type of
slave
work.
energy, exactly.
Yeah.
And pretty much of all your jobs been around the slave energy.
Yes, I did manage to get a degree,
In what?
business.
And you're still
Um,
slaving away.
I'm still, yeah, I've always done kind of physical slave work. Yeah, I did become a certified yoga instructor, and my main interest is astrology. I've been studying that for many years now.
Okay.
Ideally, I'd love to be an astrologist, but yeah, for the most part.
It's not in your stars.
Okay.
Ha ha ha.
Can you see what is in my stars?
You're blocking your own stars right now.
Okay.
The drive to be spiritual and the drive to get out of barely surviving both have different agendas in you.
Okay.
And can you see this negative dual agenda in yourself?
The drive to be spiritual and the drive to get out of what I'm blocking, or?
Yeah, no, to get out of the monetary situation that you're in.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. How do you stop that inside yourself? That's an internal argument that has been going on for so long, the two sides can't even hear each other when they're saying anymore.
Okay.
You've developed such an advanced inner angry dialogue with yourself that the sympathetic and the parasympathetic have taken over the arguments, kicking you out of the arguments and how it affects you.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got to start interjecting your energy into the argument and say, no more. I am the I am. You are the sympathetic and parasympathetic programs.
Okay.
You've got to take control back from them.
Okay. Yeah. But yet I'm not really anything. Like I can't say I am this. I'm simply just I am. You know, we all want to identify as something. We want to say I am doing this, I am being this, but at this point it's just a I am.
Yeah. And you have to do it.
Okay.
Only you. That's the spiritual journey that you've got to go on.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. What drove you to be spiritual?
I'd say that the largest thing that drove me was a discomfort with my reality, with my job and what I was doing. And so that's probably what took me on the spiritual route. Although when I was younger, I saw a being in the non-physical, and that changed my awareness of reality, you know. So I've always been kind of naturally spiritual in that sense, I guess, because I knew that we could exist in the non-physical, or something could.
Where did you learn that? Where did you learn that from?
When I saw a ghost, whatever you want to name it, kind of changed me at the age of 15.
Mm-hmm. What else did it do for you?
What else did it do for me? I don't know. It freaked me out. That's all it did.
It allowed things into you that were not beneficial for you.
Okay.
Like other entities.
I see. Well, it definitely was trying to come up to me, for sure.
And you had no one to protect yourself. And you ended up protecting half the family from the same entity.
Yes, I did.
But it got to a point where you couldn't protect them anymore.
Okay.
And you had to fractalize yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to start reclaiming those pieces and stop this entity from having backdoor access to you. This is what ritual and ceremonies are, in enforcing your ability to empower your boundaries. We use this repetition to create new illumination about the subject matter of what gets in and out of my frequency. I own my frequency.
What am I reclaiming, though?
Your power to choose, your power to not be afraid, your power to not be influenced the way you see this as fear. to
Okay.
not have your energy siphoned from you.
Okay. Are you able to tune into me to at least give me some sort of sense?
I've been tuned into you from the moment here. It's about giving you something you can hear through all the traumatic programming you have.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering who the me is that I'm reclaiming. Like, what is it that I can,
The
what
part of you that was lost, that was taken away from your ever-present choice moment. Part of your infinite peace was broken off from you. And you're taking back your infinite pieces that you broke off to a negative source when you were very young, and it forced you into a contract. Break
Okay.
that contract.
Okay.
Okay, that's energy harvesting 101.
Yeah. I'll do the fire ceremony.
That's your reclaiming your fragmented pieces. That's
Mhm.
why they're called soul shards.
Okay. Is there anything else that
What was your biggest dream in your life?
I always wanted to have a relationship, like a romantic relationship in a home, and kind of simple stuff.
All stuff that a young abused woman has to go through and has been wanting and trying it. It always seems to elude you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also wanted to have a purpose too. I wanted to have something that I was good at.
You have many purposes. You just don't see your value yet. Because
Yeah.
you were abused at a young age, you've got to go through the complete rewiring of learning how to love yourself.
Okay.
Because it's been taken away from you at the youngest of ages.
Yeah.
Learning to love yourself, actually learning the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s again.
It's
And
a very
that's what
tricky thing.
that's your ritual and ceremony work. And a huge part of that is just forgiving yourself and forgiving others.
Yeah.
Prayer is going to be very important for you during these times.
Okay.
Get some body work done too.
Mhm. I do a lot of body work on myself.
Doesn't count.
No.
They can't get to the places you can't touch. And there are plenty of places all over your body that are easily reachable, but you won't touch. That are not sexual organs. They're
Mhm.
energy spots that you won't touch because it'll bring out post-traumatic stress energy in you.
Okay.
So when did you really stop being social?
Oh gosh. I was social on and off for a while up until probably about age 26. But I was pretty much I was never really social. I've become increasingly isolated as I've gotten older.
You were an introvert.
Yeah.
Yeah. What caused you to close the door on socializing?
People irritate me. I don't know.
You know the answer.
Well, a lot of times I don't really enjoy the conversations that I have with people quite often.
Because you judge the shit out of them.
Yeah, maybe. I honestly though, being caught up in a slave mentality, I've been around a lot of people who aren't very nice.
Yes, because they're down out on their luck and will do anything to survive. Oftentimes fuck over their best friends.
Yeah, I've been around a lot of really
Douchebags.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to elevate yourself out of that.
Yeah.
By turning on your light and not allowing things to feed on you. That's reclaiming your spiritual sovereignty.
Mm-hmm. So that I'm understanding this, I'm going to look up a video about the fire ceremony, and then also the process of self-love and reclaiming myself, which I'm not quite sure what it is that's gone, but I'll figure that out.
So there is a series you can look at, Living the Mystical Life Daily. The shows that I was putting out just before the 2017 event, there's about 15 shows. where we go deep into ritual, ceremony, fire stuff, all that. This is for
Okay.
anybody else that wants to do that. Robert, can you find a link to those LMLD webcasts we did?
Yeah, and I'll send it to you directly and post it in the chat.
And then leave it up in the actual description of the show too.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Step-by-step instructions.
Perfect.
The rest is effort.
I'll do it.
Effort. 15 minutes a day is C minus. 30 minutes a day is B plus. 90 minutes a day is A plus effort.
Okay. I'll do
Okay.
it. A+. Thank you.
A plus with a smile.
Okay. Absolutely.
You
Thank
got to
you.
learn to do it out of a joyful state, not with a scowl on your face. All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Alrighty, we haven't heard from Kevin Kavanaugh in a while. Kevin, you are getting a signal to unmute.
Kevin, are you there? Hello, Kevin. Knock, 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 knock.
Don't be away from your computer.
Bad Kevin.
All right, let's try.
How about that?
Wait, there he is.
There.
Oh, how we doing?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm hanging in there, trying to anyway.
Great. Tell everyone where you're calling in from.
I'm calling in from Jackman, Maine.
Jackman, Maine. Welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I've just been following things, a little bit of news here and there. Things have been getting very interesting politically and stuff, I guess.
Well, there's always intrigue in the political market. It's all about who's buying the 2-for-1 sale.
Right. It's interesting to watch the back and forth going on.
What makes it interesting for you?
What makes it interesting is I want to say just the blatant obvious that is being spewed out. I mean, it's just blatantly obvious what's happening and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. It'll be interesting the next month or two, especially.
Oh, it's going to go into information overdrive and try to overload everyone. There'll be plenty of unicorn shitting in the street stories.
I find it interesting how everything is being spun from 1 minute to the next.
Well, it has to be. That's what keeps everyone
Not
locked
even
into
on
the live action show.
Right. It's not even on a daily basis anymore.
It's hourly.
It's almost at a point where it changes hour by hour.
That's right. It's hourly now.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. I sense a lot more positive energy in the universe than I ever have.
Me too. Do you ever remember it ramped up this high before?
No.
I do.
When?
I do. Oh my God, just before 9/11. The summer of fear.
Yes, you're right.
Okay? The summer of fear.
You're right. Yes, you're absolutely right.
That's the last time they raked it up this much. Fear movie after fear movie after fear movie after fear movie. Destruction of the universe.
I don't know. I definitely get the feeling it is going to work in our favor in the end.
Well, we're coming down to a point where we're splitting philosophical hairs to determine if the awakening is 1 hour old or 40 years old.
Right.
Okay. With several attempts at failure to launch.
I would say in the last month, I've been able to revert back. I mean, I'm 62. I've been able to revert back to specific points in time where I realized that something should have happened but didn't.
Because the timelines were fractured in 2001. And it was the wars that were in the Syrian wars at the end in 2006, the Syrian lizard wars, that put the universe back into right order.
Yeah.
Which ended a lot of the major time travel things that were locked into 9/11 as an experience.
Interesting. Now I got a question for you.
Sure.
As far as Trump goes,
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying he's perfect, but I think he's probably the best to be in that position at this point in time.
No, it's not.
No?
No.
Well, who do you think would be?
To be in that position for the Great Awakening, I could think of thousands of others. But he's there for a specific reason.
And can you share that?
He's a mercenary.
Okay.
That's how he got in. And he's staying there at the top as a mercenary. That's what our corruption needed to beat itself.
Got it.
The corruption had reached a point. The corruption had reached a point. It was so bad that you bring a corruption specialist like Trump in, it will crush the corruption or reveal itself, which is why he's doing the whole deep state thing.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Isn't it easier to awake under good circumstances rather than
we are
severe
we are generationally traumatized. Okay. When truth starts to come out, many people will be near fetal positions or in full denials. It's going to be a long time for them to get a hold of what was done to them. Okay, then there's going to need to be systems in place that are trustful for that time of regenerating oneself, and be willing to look at this form of truth that is completely alternate to what you've been told.
Right. But is the actual truth going to continue to come out?
Oh, absolutely. It's already out.
Good.
What's out that we don't already know? Time travel, that's been out forever. Quantum computing, that's been out forever. It's all in the communal what we collectively talk about. Plenty of videos on UFOs for it to really be its self-generating source. It's about the individual people awakening at their allotted time or figuring out how to wake up in another allotted time. The effort that it takes to remain awakened being on the journey to raising your frequency and not lowering your frequency.
Well, the biggest thing that I would like to see eradicated, which I don't know if it'll be eradicated in any lifetime, and that is just the stuff against kids.
Well, yeah, those are some of the obvious top 10 things. I mean, technically, we're all slaves.
I mean, I do see, I went through stuff when I was a kid and that. I mean, it carried on, but nothing to, where the trafficking and all of that stuff is. It would be really nice to see that stuff all
human trafficking is ancient in our history. The Romans were doing it.
I know.
We're doing it long before the church came around. Okay?
Has it ever been exposed to this extent?
It was more exposed in the 1700s and 1800s where they openly had slaves. It's far more open than it is now.
But it was more accepted back then, wasn't it?
You had a choice: accept my point of view or I shoot you.
Right.
Okay. Did you accept their point? Yes, sir, master. I say what you want me to say.
Now, what's the difference between it being exposed now and being exposed then? Is there a better chance of something happening now than then?
Well, back then you needed a war to completely eliminate slavery. Slavery exists in the underground now. And until governments solely go after a corruption-style anti-corruption process from top to bottom within the entire bureaucracy, until that is purged from the system, this will be ongoing and ongoing. Until such a time we don't need this system, an alternative is present enough, the awakening of individuals saying, no, I don't subscribe to this anymore, we're going to make something new.
Can we awake enough to be able to turn the tides on that.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. What
mean,
you could do, what resources are at the tips of your fingers today, no matter how old you are, that what's available at your tips of your finger compared to 50 years ago is astronomical difference.
Right.
Okay?
I know I do a lot of very, very deep meditating and stuff. And that's a focal point of meditations and stuff consistently. That's always in there. And I mean, I think it's making a difference.
It is. It's helping you see things more clearly.
Huh,
as we get closer to the election, I'll be a little bit more chatty about it. But we've got some bombshell stuff waiting for us.
Oh yeah.
'Cause that's the way the story's been set up.
And I think most of it's going to be exposed by people other than news
It will be
agencies, 'cause
nobody
I haven't-
it'll be nobody in government. It will be
Right.
the revolt of the reporters that have been called fake news forever.
Well, that'll be refreshing.
Well, no, it'll bring down the major publications like New York Times and Wall Street Journal. It's going to take them down because it's going to
Well, that'll
expose
be
them as
good.
a part of the system.
That'll be good. That'll be good because I haven't listened to mainstream media in over 6-7 years.
Yep.
And I think I know probably more about what's going on than most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. Now, I'll say this. The whole purging of Q and Facebook, which had its own long-reaching effects, et cetera,
Yeah.
that's going to prove to bite them in the ass. That's going to prove to bite them in the ass. Not
Really?
Q's material, the community is.
Right.
The pissed off, angry community is going to figure out a way to fuck the system. And if it's using Q material, great. Q material is great. I may not subscribe to the plan. I understand what it is, but
Yeah.
I choose my own way to see the facts, not the way you see the facts.
Right.
Okay? I see Trump as an absolute mercenary, and that's exactly what the system needed to break itself. And the 120
I
companies
see it
that
that
run the
way,
world
too.
knew
I
that when
see-
they gave him the presidency.
I see him as the character and the personality that needed to be able to bring out what was brought out.
It needed to break the system completely.
Right.
You
Because
needed
they've never had to
somebody
face
so
somebody
corrupt.
with his
You
character.
needed someone so corrupt or corrupting values to break all the oaths of the tenets of the office, to use it solely for the strictness of his power as a strong man, which has never been done in modern American history.
Yeah, because the Democrats definitely didn't know how to handle him.
Oh no, they handled him exactly the way they were supposed to. They were told to.
Oh, okay.
Come on. There is no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. They're all owned by the same 110 companies.
True. So how do we put the 110 companies down? Because that's what actually needs to be taken down, correct?
No. It's learning how to awaken up and outcreate the existing system. At any point in time, somebody can come up with the next love song, the next speech that changes the planet, so on and so forth. I say this often, we're one funny cat-witty video away from us becoming a laughing collective.
Right.
Okay? There are videos on YouTube that have like 12 billion hits. That's more people than on the planet.
Right.
Okay?
Huh. Interesting.
So something else, I'll just slip a little bit more in here because I don't get to do this that often. Our election is November 3rd.
Yeah.
And if people want to play the psychic observation game, what you can begin to do is doing a guided meditation where you're going to have to actually write it out, where you're going to enter a state where you're producing pure white light from all of your chakra points. So just writing it out so it gets you to that deep relaxed state. And then you want to shine this bright light onto October 2nd, midnight or 12:01, and begin to perceive what October 2nd to October 3rd's energy spike is going to be like. And I want you to see yourself as like a giant weather person. You're not there to actually intuit the future. You're there to intuit the energies and the hurricanes of frequencies that are going to be going on.
There was a peculiar, I don't know if it would be a high or a low in the Schuman resonance over the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed anything about that?
Well, whenever there's a Schumann resonance change, there's something going on in your biomagnetic frequency. But people sometimes overly pay attention to the actual chart that's there and not realize how it actually is affecting them in subtle ways long before that peak of energy came. So unfortunately, you don't get enough actual real-time data from those devices that are going to tell you what your local zone is actually going through.
Right.
All of those things only come off of like 12 data instruments spread around the world. So unless you're next to one of those 12, your chances of being accurate are not that high.
All right.
Okay. So knowing if there's this general spike in the world or not, there may be a spike in the world, but you may be in an area where there's a downward flow and that energy is being transferred to somewhere else.
Huh. Well, I used dowsing rods and I went around the property that I'm on and I found two positive spots, one stronger than the other. So I made a meditation area over the strongest one. And that's where I meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets interesting once in a while. I mean, there's times where I'll get into a meditation and won't realize it that I've gone an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because the energies of the space are acting like a fountain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do the technique I just told you about, surrounding yourself in the pureness essence of light, and then looking to November 2nd to November 3rd, and see yourself as an energy weatherman for the planet.
Okay.
People that are vigilant enough and are not over worried about vision. Vision can be a knowingness of the energies going up and down. You will, if you are practiced and vigilant, you will see time travel wars go on November 2nd. Starting actually before that, but if you just want to catch in the highlights, start the end of November 2nd, the beginning of November 3rd, and try to observe that 24 hours as an unentangled observer. And you'll see all the stuff that I've talked about in action.
Are there still time travel wars going on now?
Oh, absolutely. There's 27 million time agents here right now. 27 million time cops. The most that have been assembled in a really long time.
Huh. And what's the purpose? What is their purpose?
To stop time offenders.
Okay. So there's people that are jumping in and out of time that shouldn't be.
Yes, and on purpose, trying to create uncreational situations or a failure of other timelines.
See, those are things that I tend to key in on in meditations and look to do something about.
Well, you're already doing geomancy, just do it on a bigger scale.
Okay.
Pull out a map of your local county and try to chart out where the energy lines go to. And then you can visually connect them on a map and you can tap into that entire train of energy where you're doing your meditation.
Ooh, sweet. See, now there's also a very old water flow that goes under the property here that perks up to the surface in 3 or 4 different places.
Those are also very good places to do meditations.
They actually all kind of go right underneath where that meditation area is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether that's just adding to the energy or...
Well, explore. What you can do is go with a big metal poking stick and start poking into the ground and see if it starts bubbling up right away in other places. And if it does, see if you can make a collection area, even if you've got to bring some stone in so you can start retaining some of that water. and then have a reflecting pool.
Well, I do have a reflection area. Actually, I draw off of that water for my camp.
Good.
So I shower in that water and all of that.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I miss my camp so much in the winter.
Yes, because you can't connect to the water.
Right.
Water's very purifying, very healing. And there'll be many, many techniques that will be exposed to humanity as we grow through our awakening, and we go through the finishing of our awakening sickness. That water will be one of the great cure-alls for that. Just getting water at the right electrical salinity levels on a regular basis. Okay, and the washing off of the negative ions that collect to human beingness.
Interesting. Well, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, you've been an adventuresome call. Thanks a lot for calling in.
No problem. Anytime. I fully enjoy it.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okey-doke, Manj, UK. You're getting a signal to unmute.
Manj, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hi. Where in the UK are you calling from?
From a place north of London called Birmingham. It's about 2 hours away.
Well, welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
So probably loads and loads of questions. I think my first question is probably, how do I get rid of just general fear of trying to move forward with, I don't know, anything, I think.
Well, that's not general. That's not general fear. That's absolute fear. If you can't go after anything without fear stopping you. Is that where you're at, or is that just a misstatement?
Probably a misstatement, Ben. I think if you put it in that way.
So what's stopping you from doing anything?
Probably my limiting beliefs.
Okay.
Most likely. And I don't know, I kind of just blame, like as an example, from a social interaction point of view, I think I heard one of your other callers, and I think they thought that they were a bit of an introvert, or they perceived to be a bit of an introvert, and that's how I am. But I'm great one-to-one. But when it comes to social, like a big group, I'm not great. And a lot of it is around, I just forget things. I've just always been very forgetful. And
because you're not in your body. When you're in public places, you're not in your body. There's a program inside you that's stopping you from being in your body. That's why you become forgetful, not attached to the memory frequency. It's like you're in a third person point of view inside your own body.
How do I get it to connect?
With what's the cause of this? Before you can heal it, you got to know what caused it. Were you abused as a child?
Yes. I don't know for how long. Like, I think it was for a very, very short time. And it was just by someone that was unknown to my family. But I don't know how much I'm not sure how much it influenced me.
It influenced you a lot, to the point today. You don't trust anyone and can't make friends. Can't maintain them.
I mean, I have got lots of friends, and I've had them for years and years and years.
But they're all at an arm's length away.
I think probably yes, probably to a certain extent. I mean, I could count them.
It's how you protect yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you've learned to survive with the trauma in place. If you want to become social and be in your body, a sexual trauma is what stopped you from being in your body and your public, because you're not trusting your environment because you had a damaging in your faith. So you've got to go back and look at what the damage that it's done and begin to reverse it.
Okay.
Okay, you got to look at your specific rules of avoidance. There's certain subject matters that instantly go to the avoid pile.
Yes, most definitely. I'd agree with that.
Okay? That's giving
yeah.
away of your sovereign free will. And you've got to claw back the sovereign free will from the young girl who was abused through all that trauma, traumatic energy, and with the power of love, out-create it with your will to use your choice to the power of free will as an energy that melts away the negative experience.
Okay.
You got to see it as a hurricane of ceremonial self-love.
Okay, that's how you would see that I could resolve it.
Yes, and it won't exactly take a lot of effort. It's just going to take a lot of truth. That's what it's going to take. A lot
I think
of your
already you've given me a truth.
You got it. You got what I say.
Yeah, totally.
And the more effort and time you put into it, the more you'll realize how much the root of the energy is broken faith.
Okay.
That's your root. Your faith was shattered. And you've had to put it together like Humpty Dumpty ever since.
Okay.
And you can do this. You can do this. It's going to require you to come to a state where the daily practice is what's all consuming for you.
Okay. I'm probably a C- in all of that area, I think.
And that's the avoidance mechanism of not healing.
Okay.
If
yeah,
you want to do it, you can figure out how to do 90 minutes a day so that you can say, Andrew gave me A+ effort at 90 minutes a day.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing because I think it's just like you said, it's like I'm trying to avoid it when I want to get better, but then I'm trying to avoid it. And it's like I know that I'm trying to avoid it. And it's just really, it's just very, very weird.
That's why you got to head on tackle it. Head on tackle it. After a while, you'll realize it only has like 3 or 4 moves. A right hook, a left hook, a dodge, maybe a kick or an elbow. And then after a while, you'll be able to figure out all its moves it's going to do at you.
That's fine. I think I've got a flying kick in one of my moves somewhere.
Okay. You'll be ready for it.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I think to be honest, I think everything that you said, I think that, like quite recently, I've really been trying to like increase my level of love. I think there's still some like I feel like I harbor anger and I'm very conscious of my ego sometimes. And I want to make sure that doesn't get in the way of anything.
It is, darling. It is absolutely going to get in the way.
Okay.
Because your ego is in survival mode, protecting you too. And when you get out of I'm in survival protection mode, you can retask the ego to do something more beneficial to you.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that's really good because I just thought, what is wrong with my memory? And it just really annoys me because I feel like it really
your
limits
memory is
me
because your memory is because you've been avoiding it. It's not something you cyclically look back on to make it into long-term memory. You hid away from it.
Okay, and resolving that will obviously help me with other areas as well. Okay, that's
really absolutely. It's going to give you a lot of revelation about memories that you knew you had. You just forgot that you had them.
Yeah, like good ones.
Yes, good ones.
Yeah. Even from a year ago, if I've like been somewhere on holiday, like I just forget what I did there, and it's just really weird. And I'm like, why would I forget that? Because I had a really good time, but I feel like I'm just suppressing every memory that I've got most of the time, apart from work, which is really annoying.
So let me ask you a question. What do you really want to do with your life?
I feel like I'm not, at the moment, I feel like I'm not doing anything fulfilling. So I think I need to think about that a lot more. I resonated with someone earlier. It's about not about money. I'm not overly materialistic, but I do like to live comfortably. But I would prefer to be fulfilled rather than the other way around. But I just feel like I just need to be at a certain level in terms of financially secure. As soon as I get to that, which might be an excuse, to be honest.
That is absolutely an excuse.
Yeah.
Because that financial security never comes.
Yeah, I guess.
That's your illusion. Take your power back. Stop falling for your own propaganda.
Yeah. I mean, can you see me doing something like that is fulfilling, like I know it's a cliche, like helping people, but
absolutely I can see that. That's why I'm giving you this unique opportunity to see yourself, and that if you do it, and not from me telling you that you have to do it right now, even though you have to do it right now, okay? Yeah. You can get into doing it on your own, for your own, solely for your growth and evolution and benefit. It's not about any external source, solely about you and the love you can manifest about you.
Yeah. Oh, that was really quick.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot for calling in, darling.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Thanks, bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who's next.
Okie dokie. M down under.
M down under, are you there?
Hello, how are you going?
Hey, where are you calling from?
Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne, Australia. Welcome to the show. What did you want to talk about today?
I got a few questions. First, I would like to know, there's a place. Ooh, I'm a bit excited now. Hold on a sec. There's a place next to my hometown in Austria. That's where I'm from. And it's called the Place of the Scorpion. And it's aligned, it's like a stone formation that is aligned with the star system, or with the scorpion, the sign of the scorpion in the stars. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a bit about that place?
When's the last time you've been there?
When was the last time? End of last year.
And what are your memories of that place?
Look, I know it's a power place. I know there's high energetics going on there, and a few power spots over there.
Yes,
and
there are. That's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm asking you to
look. People were doing rituals. I've been there. I've been meditating there, and also because there was a guy. He channeled certain. They like what do you call it? Like symbols, galactic energy symbols, like free energy symbols, and he wrote a book about it because one of the stones is like a center stone to be like a. He made this energetic network basically, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the stones you can charge your stone. It's called the Illumine network. So you can make your own stones there if you charge your stones at this certain spot, at this certain stone, which is the main stone there. And you can create your own network sort of thing. So I also had some crystals there with me, and I've done that after buying his book and reading about it. And yeah, so that's my memories from there. And I had some feelings then. You know, I've been there a few times because it's close to my home, even though living overseas now for many years. But yeah, I just wanted to know a bit of a history about that place and
that place has been used as a prayer spot by a variety of people for a long period of history. For the last 70 years, it's relatively not used for advanced ritual and ceremony, though there are some beings that do clearings there and they're just doing their good duty. But in between the 1400s and all the way into the 1890s, it was used exclusively by secret societies who did some not too good stuff there.
Oh, okay.
Now,
so there's some dirty energy too.
Yes, there's some dirty energy. Okay. But before that, it was used for good. Before that, it was used for bad. Before that, it was used for good. Before that, it was used for bad. In a regular cyclical process, about every 120 years, it switches from good to bad.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there are circumstances that cause the good to bad, but the general repeat is what's securing into this energy of the area of the magical guards of the old, who are still magically controlling an area.
Okay.
Okay. So there was enough high magic done during the high times that it could affect all the way into the now. Has the capacity to wake people up, but also greatly depress them.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, at one point in time, there were access to underground cities there. The tunnels have been long since caved in, but the underground cities could house hundreds of thousands of people.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm aware that there's some tunnel close by. There's like a church, a little chapel that has an access to an underground like tunnel sort of system.
Mm-hmm.
That's like only like maybe 10, 15 k's away from there.
Well, there's
So they might
tunnels.
have been all interconnected.
There's tunnels all throughout all of those areas.
Okay. Cool.
Human beings for a long period lived underground, lived as tunneler beings.
Yeah,
okay. It's just a matter if you've got it in your DNA memories or not.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. A few other things I wanted to ask, if possible. One thing. I have my stepson. He passed away about 2 years ago now, and I would just like you to see what's going on with him at the moment and how he's traveling and sort of what's going on there.
So tell me his name and date of birth and death.
Ooh. Okay. Date of birth is the 21st of December 2000.
Okay.
Date of death was November. I'm not sure now. Was it 25th or 26th of November? Not last year, the year before, so 2008. So it was just before he would have turned 18, basically.
Okay, and he said it was in a car accident?
No, he took his own life.
How did he take his life?
Oh, he hung himself.
Okay, just let me tune into these energies.
Thank you.
Are you still at the home, or have you moved on to somewhere else?
No, me and my wife, we live overseas. We both live in Australia now. He's from Thailand, right? So he was living with his grandma and with his auntie at the time. He never lived with us, basically.
All right, this explains a lot.
Okay. His mom was already here with me living overseas, and they were just like, on the phone every now and then, this and that, but they were not living together.
Because he couldn't get citizenship there?
It wasn't, he was just turning 18. His mom wanted for him to, get his way there first, do some work, get into life after school and all that, and have his way first, and then we would have looked into getting him in here at some stage if he wanted to, yes.
Okay. So, do you know what it was like for him to grow up there?
From what I know, I think it was okay at first, but then when his nephew was born, his cousin, like his auntie's son, he was sort of the favorite from the family, and then he got sort of neglected a bit, and the last few years he had a bit of a struggle. He was picked on and this and that, and had a bit of differences between grandma and auntie and himself, I think.
No, it got bad enough that he killed himself over it. It's not as the way you're painting it right now.
Okay. So is that what caused it? Is that what you would say was his main cause? Because from what I've sort of know, it was more about him being heartbroken from his girlfriend.
Oh, heartbroken from the girlfriend is what put him into the position of I can't even live in this house at peace, and I'm always under attack. No one's even helping me out with my energies. Can't they tell I'm broken? They don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah, okay.
They're stuck in their own little lives. That's what was going on through his. That's what was going on through his head. So where he's at now, well, he's back in a body.
Oh, wow.
He didn't wait long. He went through his life review, his suicide review, saw how destructive and dangerous it was, and changed the way he was going to live his next life.
Okay. Oh. Cool. Okay. Thank you for that.
Cool.
Another thing, maybe more on a positive note and more for other people to be of interest as well. Can you tell me about Moldavite, sort of how it came to be, and is there any story behind Moldavite, the crystal Moldavite?
So Moldavite has a lot of potency and power. One second.
Yep.
So Moldavite as a crystal, it's 4.5 billion years old. That's what makes it so important to have as a stone. Now, Moldavite can give clarity and great forms of protection when learned to be used right. And you use it because of the raw age that's inside it. So you make a part of your rituals and ceremonies and meditations this ancient elongated frequencies of time, which allows you to experience ancient elongated frequencies of time and observe, because Moldavite is asteroids that are gone through the reheating process coming through the atmosphere, most of the situation, or if it was already heated to a billion plus degrees before that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. I got a few pieces, so that's good. And I know, like, my first experience I ever had with the first piece of Moldavite I got, that kind of took me a bit off guard, because that had me almost tripping. Sort of, had me in a total different space of mind, and that for a while. And then that settled down. And then the last time I went back to Austria, like end of last year, my mom knows someone in the Czech Republic. He was going out to find Moldavite himself around there, and so I bought a few pieces off him because I knew they're 100% genuine, and some nice stuff.
Yeah, Moldavite's quite valuable. Quite valuable.
Yeah, it is too. And there's a lot of fakes around nowadays. Okay. Another thing, if possible, could you tell me anything about my sort of galactic history a bit, or anything in this sort of area at all?
Yeah, just give me a second to tune in here. So with you, I'm going to start 350,000 years ago.
Okay.
And you're here on Earth. You're living in the Montreal, Canada area of Northern America. The planet is greatly different. There's 30% more land on it. The oceans are 200 feet lower. And you're in charge of a sensor network that determines if time is going to be violated in the space that you're in. And if time is violated, a set of protocols go off in your zone that reverse the nature of time. And your facility is interlinked to tens of thousands of other facilities that can restitch time back together, where they can go back and repeat a global narrative subject and eliminate it from its actual linear history. And at that time, Earth is under regular weaponized attacks of reality-altering weapons. And a reality-altering weapon can be an ideology. And there were a series of ideologies that were brought here in data crystals, and that when unpacked and uncoded into a DNA programmable instrument of experience, such as a human being, a whole narrative of belief can be created that never actually existed in this hologram. And that hologram could be infiltrated by duplicate agents from duplicate holograms. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, in a bit. I have to probably re-listen to that to get the gist of all of it.
So your
A lot
job
of
was
information in there.
to make many thousands of duplicates whenever an event went off. And your team, you had thousands of people in your team that all had different jobs, concepts, and ideas. And you would spread your team across thousands of potential timelines, looking for other altering frequencies of time, such as an ideology that wreaks havoc across society.
Okay. Wow. Is there anything like I've done like a shaman sort of thing before? Is there any connections to the Arcturians at all?
Well, the Arcturians have been a part of Earth's growth for a long time, so they would have been a big part of your general galactic evolution. They would have been a huge part of your experiences, yes.
Right.
The reason this came up for you
Yep.
is important to what you're going through today.
Right.
Your ability to respond to any subject matter, whether you know anything about it or not, and responding in a pure intellectual heart space frequency, in which it's not about being right or wrong, it's having the accurate information to define the moment.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so well, what's my connection to Australia then? Why am I sort of feeling so good here at the moment? Is there anything there?
Can you say that again? You broke up. I couldn't hear.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, what sort of connection do I have to Australia, where I'm living at the moment? Is there anything that sort of, you know?
Oh, that brought you out of the war frequency.
Oh, okay.
It brought you out of the war frequency and into a land that is far more relaxed. Yes, there may have been negative things on there, but nowhere near as much war that was done all throughout Europe.
No, that's right there.
Okay, and that's why it was natural for you to go and live there and not have to worry about that warring energy.
Mm. So it feels a lot better for me, and it's a lot better for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Definitely.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Well,
lot.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you so much. You have a good day.
Yes, Robert. Let's bring on Seth. I see he's got his hand up.
Seth, you got a signal to unmute.
Yes.
Hey, Seth. How you doing today?
All right, Andrew. Thanks for bringing me on. You know what? I wanted to mention something because you talked about it earlier. And here, wait, start my video here. I'm not looking at my best right now. I'm kind of half naked and just out of the shower, but I heard you on. I wanted to come on because all day long I've been thinking about this idea that you mentioned earlier with, you said we've all been horses. We've had thousands of lifetimes as horses, as animals, as all of that. Mm-hmm. And it's such a peaceful feeling to consider that I would love to hear you just go into that deeper, you know?
All right, so I've done a number of shows where I've talked about people who were horses in other lives. So let me give something of a more visceral understanding for people. If you go back 5,000 years into warlord history, and warlord history is whenever this planet was taken over and the warlords were running the life and death industry, like killing of people, the sacrificing of souls, etc.
Yeah.
There was an energy about the horse. The horse, by the time it's 2 years old, was broken and a saddle was put on it. Well, let you know the equivalency of a horse. If that horse were in human age, it would be a 2-year-old. Would you ever put all your weight on top of a 2-year-old and tell it to run around and make $50 million? But that's what's done to horses. Okay. Every human being alive today has been a horse at least 20% of all of their past lives. That's how ingrained that DNA skin suit is with us.
Oh my God.
Think of all the positive ways horses influenced families. And soul families were linked around horses and herds of horses.
I know. That's why when you said it, it created all these connections in my awareness, and I just felt it. I'm like, oh my God, it just goes so deep, and there's so many connections to it. And of course, then it brought up this whole idea of a centaur, you know, or whatever they call it, like
the human horse
And-
hybrid, which
yeah.
was a real entity that was created out of true love, as well as a DNA produced entity out of technology.
Mm. I love it. Just the consideration of that is so uplifting. My God. Yeah. And then what about then the idea? Obviously, a seahorse is not a horse, obviously, but it still brings up this idea of, because when you look at a seahorse compared to any other fish in the sea, it's like, how is that even real? You know, it's
its magical own little magical creature.
Yes. And
Okay?
I just love
there
all
were
the
many different things that lived in the sea that were easily mountable by underwater species. Okay.
See, it's these quantum leaps in our imaginative processes that get us more in alignment with reality and potential and get people out of this stress fest that they're so addicted to.
Well, they've been sold a bill of goods that they can never get out of.
Oh, well, you know what? It's time to go bankrupt with that, then.
They're still in their system if you go bankrupt. You've got to bankrupt them.
It's a soul contract, right? Isn't it like
Exactly. I'm going to outthink you, motherfuckers.
Exactly. Quantum outfeel you. I'm going to feel something way deeper than any of this appears to be.
All right. I'm going to write a speech so devastating that it'll do something to people's buttholes.
Yeah, just take the stick right out of it.
Exactly.
Eternally. It's just a ride. It's just a ride. This can't be real. My money, my bank account. Come on. It's
just a ride.
Just a ride. I just wanted to jump on and say that. Thank you for having me on.
All right. So with the unicorns. Yes, my symbol is a unicorn dragging ass.
It's perfect. Totally.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Yes, thank you.
Robert, is Monty there?
He is coming right up.
Monte.
Hello. The whole question, unmute or stay mute. I'm like, oh, again, I freaked out. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm chilling. It's very interesting living in Hellborn, as I call it now.
So are you glad you didn't go to the march?
Yeah, because I saw another alternative journalist get spear tackled by the police. I'm like, oh,
that could have been you.
Yeah. And interesting enough, with the whole energy shift, changey thingy, whatever happened last week, it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday was the protest, and still enjoying that bungee jump of energies, like, yeah, up and down, up and down. There was like feeling pressure and a grind, and then the protest happened, and then it's like, yeah, fair enough, cool. And so for me, for my personal experiences, I'm more in that watcher moment as I've pulled back even more. And
that's what I was telling. That was what I was telling you when your moment review asked you, should I go or not? And I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
Sit back and watch. You'll be just fine.
Yeah, because my higher self whispered, "Don't go," and everything else in me is like, "Oh, geez, I don't know." And so, yeah,
I'm a rebel. I'm a hermit rebel. I can go. Yeah,
it's like, and then parts of me like, I know you're a rebel, but you're a hermit, so rebel against the hermit, but stay home at the same time.
Go online activism. Whoop whoop.
Yeah. Basically, like, remember, going to the letterbox is your experience of the day. Like, oh, sunshine.
And you damn well know you would have been in the center of all the shit if you had gone.
That's the interesting thing. Like, for those who 2 comedy shows ago. There's an interesting sentence. Remember 2 comedy shows ago.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it's at least a month ago now. Anyway, we had a homework of watching movies, and I watched Ip Man, and all 4 Blu-rays have turned up, so that's my weekend. I'm going to watch them all now, and a lot of reading because it's all in Cantonese or whatever it is, Chinese. And there was that with the movie. I think I tapped into my dragon sort of connection, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But it's that like with the previous caller from Australia, I resonated with that of like, why am I in Australia? Because there's so much less war here. And like, I'm a warrior in retirement. So like the dragon sits there and it's like, I'm here, leave me alone. I'm reading a book. And so I would, if I was at the protests, that anger or defending energy would kick it, because I could sense that sort of like visualizing myself of like, whack, going Jedi and trying to be, Kung Fu master and lasting 3 seconds because, pepper spray. So that's reinforced.
It's better of getting your things pepper sprayed than turning out like one of those Star Wars lightsaber kids doing the stupid ass video. Would you rather go down that way?
Yeah, well, I didn't go at all. So, and interesting as well from not being there and just watching more from it is the protest was supposed to happen. I don't know if they broke 1,000, and I saw a live feed from it, or it was live. Oh, that cow's back again. That angry cow. The protest was peaceful for 15 minutes, and then the police just moved in and it amped up all the energy. I do remember asking you.
It was a setup.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It was a setup.
Yeah, and but it wasn't big enough to affect the narrative per se, because the next day the Premier put forward his road plan to get out of lockdown. Just another 2 weeks. So we'll probably be in lockdown for the rest of the year on different stages. And it's more of like, okay, I've disengaged energetically, if that makes sense.
That's all you can. That's all you can do at this point in time.
Yeah,
it's going to get crazier and crazier and crazier.
Yeah. And it's interesting with like doing roundtables, Revolution Radio, 2 a.m. Wednesdays, New York time. I'm remembering to promo myself when I talk. Wafer Thin Entertainment, YouTube. Because if you fight now, you're still part. You get on the playing field of the global narrative in that respect, and so it's to disengage with the narrative. However, that doesn't mean you do nothing, because if you just do nothing, you're still playing. That's a choice in the 3D level. From what you've said for eons, and everyone listening would know, is by working on yourself and holding that frequency. So you're doing something, but it's not the old. I jokingly say, we've tried war for 5,000 years, hasn't worked. Let's go do something else. And then Viking said 10,000 years. Yeah, well, that's true. Who knows how? And then you got timeline wars, and so. But
they're gonna like, let's go do something else. Shit, we're killing people again. Didn't we say we were gonna stop this?
See, it could have been all those video games in a car and running people over. A bit of programming there.
Exactly. Instant gratification.
Bam, bam.
Exactly.
Because people ask, do you play video games? No, I live in one. And it's like, but I mean, you can respawn, but it's kind of different on the planet, because it could be 80 years before you do, and you're a completely different family and everything else like that. It's not coming back straight away. So yeah, it's very interesting, because there's rumblings now of the Premier's probably going to go, and I think the government started to apologize for the last 6 months. It's like, it should have been 6 months ago.
He's gonna go on a fuck the dog tour.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sorry, I fucked the dog.
Oops.
I have no memes for that. Thank you.
Well, technically you do, Robert, but you're not sharing any of them. And it's that whole just that sort of choice because I can't really look further down the timeline, because anything can change in 12 hours. It's like, lockdown, so I'm sort of in this mode, and floating.
It's like your everyday hermit.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
There's nothing different. What's the difference between you being a hermit and hermit in lockdown? Nothing.
Oh no, there's one thing. The government says I have to stay still instead of a choice. And then the rebel comes out and is like, well, I want to go outside now. How dare you, sir?
And then you get outside and go, damn, I want to be inside.
Yeah, it's like, all the people look like they're going to rob a bank. Or, it's just a weird mashed reality because everyone's wearing surgical masks.
Yes.
And looking at, noticing that it's sort of 50-50 about social media where am I addicted? But I'm also a stand-up comic and I need instant gratification by sharing memes and laughter. And so when I'm on the three, I'm like Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook and Twitter. And so when I'm on there and I can feel the energy of like, oh, it's getting a bit dark, turn it off and just walk away. Because it's I can feel being dragged into that negative energy.
Mm-hmm. And then you're stuck. All of that.
Well, yeah, it's like,
woe is you, no way out. I'm consumed by the void.
And then the cycle repeats.
Exactly. And then the cycle repeats.
Yeah. Now, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, but let's talk about 9/11 because it's the 11th of September here from in Melbourne. Hello from the future. And I'd rather do it now instead of the comedy show because the comedy show may get a little bit dark as we go down there.
Tomorrow's 9/11, 19 years later.
Yeah. And so two questions. One is, and you can answer however you would like. One is, why is this date used a lot? Because
ritual and ceremony leading up into October to get everyone enraged.
Oh, yeah, and
so
part of the equinox as well. Is that part of the equinox timing?
Well, it's all about manipulating the algorithm of the energy of the equinox will be most beneficial to the types of frequencies you're bringing to it. Like you're bringing seasoned trained warriors, seasoned trained healers, a plethora of personalities to the chessboard of grander journey.
Yeah, because you look through history where it's like, oh, September 11th. Oh, September 11th. Like, that pattern recognition kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one.
Many huge things that have happened on 9/11 all over the world that are completely not related to the other.
And I know you touched on it, but I'll put it forward this way. I remember you saying, I can't remember where, because you've got a little bit of content.
Just a wee bit.
just a wee bit, lad. Just a wee bit. Is that 9/11/2001, when that day happened, even the Prime Creator took notice, and I had an image.
Yeah, their pagers were going off. Everybody's pagers were going off.
Yeah,
what the fuck did they do?
The Prime Creator's reading the Times and having a cup of tea, and then it's like, hang on a moment.
This pager goes off, and then a bunch of other angels' pagers goes off. You got to have a meeting of the board right away.
So, heck, if you want to expand on that a little bit, as well as how it's connected to today, because from my memory timeline, that's sort of the major starting point to where we are, aren't we?
So first thing first is 9/11. Since before the planes crashed into it, a timeline war occurred. And because it was mass broadcast, it was something that you couldn't just instantly erase from the frequency of time and replace it with some other storyline that didn't have the planes crashing in. Your timeline would never survive. So it was done publicly in this mass situation to neuter the other types of timeline-based responses that were going to be going on all over the world. That's at a point where you could say at least several 100,000 agents were dispatched per plane, first of all, to look, back to the plane's initial inception. If something was altered in the time-space rift of the atoms of the material, allowing a portal of entrance.
Okay, so the whole plan was a negative thing. However, you had pushback.
It was to jump. It was pre-led by fear. Okay, that was the summer of fear.
Yep. And
then once it hit, it was a mass harvesting of human beings.
Okay, because
a separation from classes, the bigger class separation, and a mass volunteering for sacrificial life.
Because there was a positive reaction to the negative thing, if that makes sense.
Yes. And there were other positive reactions to it. But as they began passing the draconian laws, that was 9/11, which is far worse than anything going on today.
Yeah.
Okay. That set up the fundamentals of Agenda 21.
Yes, yeah, which is next year. So now they've moved it to 23rd. It's a really bad. You'll be proud of me, Andrew. I keep saying, like, the New World Order's here. Hey, can you name one thing the government's done right for 100% right?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
Maybe they
like,
put a bridge up. All right.
Yeah, and it hasn't fallen down. It's like, oh, but the New World's come. Yeah, they're trying to bring in the New World because my mum would say I'm pedantic. It's like, well, if you're right, I don't have to point that out.
But if there's not an evil New World Order, I would like a New World Order. I think it would be a kind of cool, as long as it was an evil one.
Well, yeah, I've said that where it's a global parliament and everything. Globalism will happen naturally. What we're getting is forced and unnatural. And that's the difference, basically. And they're forcing it into a certain thing of, the Fourth Reich or whatever. But eventually you could see that all the
47th Reich.
Yeah, yeah. I actually mentioned on my show this week, it's like, the New World Order would get in probably last 8 months because they all suck. Because if you look back at the Third Reich in Germany, 1,000 years we shall rule. They made 11. They got to 11. And then that we're aware of because, Operation Paperclip. But yeah.
Yes. And then Operation Slip on the Banana.
Yeah, yeah. So it's fascinating to see how everything is unfolding. Because just the idea of the Prime Creator going, hang on a moment, what are these mother lovers doing now?
What the fuck are you doing down there? Angels assemble.
Mick, Gabe, come here. Look now.
Exactly. God, what's up? What those humans are fucking up again.
Oh, that's right. Earth, I forgot. Oh, oopsie.
Whoopsie. That place where you had one garden called Eden and nothing else was allowed there and you had forbidden fruit. Remember that fucked up idea?
Oh, I remember the story. Enul and Eon and Elon. Yeah, that was the third brother from the Garden of Eden. There was an Elon there because Elon Musk went into time travel. There's your conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Throw that at it. So how can going to today? What I haven't asked about Melbourne where there's a lot of pressure and there's moving because a lot of people. I'm sort of my ego is a bit miffed of there's a great awakening and we're talking about this, and I think you're similar where we've been talking about this for a decade and we still don't get any recognition. However, my idea is that people are just waking up that they're asleep. Because it's just you don't wake up and like, oh look, Prime Creator, yay! There is a whole process, like especially listening to you, where it's like, I'm awake now. Really? Try this. Oh man, you know what I mean? Where to actually,
we're at a point where information sharing is so vital at the dawn of the information age. Because really, we are at the dawn of the information age now, not 9.86 baud.
Yeah.
If anyone knows what that means, 9.6 baud or 8.6 baud. Anybody in the chat room remember that?
Well, that's the other thing as well.
Oh.
Exactly. Before you could share pictures on bulletin boards.
I remember dial-up. I was there. People, what was it like in the 90s? I'm a Gen Xer and I don't remember. I was there and that was enough.
Yeah.
Someone shared a meme of millennials freaking out, baby boomers freaking out, Gen Xers. Meh. I think we're a certain breed in timing, especially in the last 3 months. The amount of people that I've met that is born and out, we have the same birth year. Is it just a luck of creation, or did a lot of us have a meeting 4 million years ago? It's like, oh, we'll go in 1974. right between Dark Side of the Moon and Wish You Were Here.
That's actually pretty common, actually.
Okay.
Stuff
So
like
like a
that.
lot of people with the same birth year, they connect with each other.
Yes, for bigger soul purposes, like a new wave of immigration souls coming in that have been out for a long time, practicing their lives, and to make sure damn well they're going to get it right.
Yeah, I kind of feel that because with my investigation, I think I skipped World War II. I was definitely in World War One. And it was like sort of like, oh, this war, Great War, the end all war, and like fuck that, and skipped most of the 40s. So
You just came out in 49.
yeah, like yeah, Israel's now. Woo. So with Melbourne, I know it's doing its purpose, and there's a unfolding of everything, and it's fascinating. We're still wearing masks. The curfew's still going till the end of October at this moment in time, and there's a roadblock. But if they may remove the premier, but the fight will continue. I've been told on social media, because it doesn't matter who they put in. It's the mindset that's going forward. What is the influence of Melbourne on the rest of the globe, from what people are seeing, like from like where you are, London or Eastern Europe, and they're seeing
all cities have a port that was created by Masons as a reception and a sending of energy. Anything that's been deemed by the Queen a Queen's port or Queen's property port has specific rituals of sending and receiving energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the energetic system of the whole world. So Melbourne as a port is connected to all the other sacred geometry ports that are out there.
Yes.
Every piece of cargo that goes through the transfer system, but there are energy debts that are traded through the ports also. Like all the high frequency trading actually goes through the ports. Yeah,
that makes sense. And maybe making the wrong connection, but it sounds very Admiralty law. Where it is very Admiralty law
and
finance, because if you look in finance, the language of banks, flow of currency, and all that. So
the current of currency.
Yeah, and so being a port, vessel and manifest, and interesting. So what? Because a lot of I don't think tourism is going to take a massive hit when lockdown ends, because a lot of people are going, I was going to go to Victoria, but they seem a bit Nazi-esque.
Well, the thing is, it's the whole tourism industry is going to crash.
Yeah.
All the little shops and stuff are going to go out of business, and people are going to go back to where they thought there was vacationable type business and see empty streets and empty shops. Whatever few shops are there are going to make money hand over foot if there's an infrastructure for them.
Yeah. Very quickly, Robert is showing that is actually the Port of Melbourne. Because that bridge with the two sort of spires, which looks like it's giving the two fingers to the western suburbs, that's the Balti Bridge, named after a premier. But it does look like that. It's very, very English and Australian. But that is the Port of Melbourne.
Yeah, and it was like when they were searching for ports, that port absolutely has everything you could want out of a port.
Okay. Because being Australian, there's two people that have founded Melbourne. It's either Faulkner or Batman, not Bruce Wayne. He actually was called Batman. Wow, that Batman has time tech. Woo! And
Melbourne also has other deep impact on the history of the planet. It's about understanding how the give and take of the infinite time frequency moves through between all the continents. At one point, the continents were all in connection to each other, and the planet Earth was much larger than it is today. It's gone through energetic contraction, as have our continents. And it creates a great deal of stress to move at high frequency energies from one place to another now. So Melbourne is one of those cities that has to be activated, so it opens up a canal frequency for large amounts of energy from other time to be channeled into this time.
And
they can switch debts or gains from other timelines onto this timeline. Energy, the harvested energy from people.
Yeah, because it's
Melbourne is a key, and then Scapa Flow was the other one in Britain.
Oh, all right, okay.
That was the military might, the naval military might of Britain. Yeah. That controlled the admiralty laws of the unseen world.
Good, yeah. So I sort of ignore the question, like, why am I here? And my answer I give myself is, I'm here to be, and that's good enough for the moment.
Here to be you, exactly, and live, love, and learn that.
Yeah,
all the wonderful things you can go out and do or fuck up at.
Yeah.
or become superior at.
I still want to move to Queensland. I'm over the winters. However, I think I've got one or two more, a couple of things to finish here first, because it's like, I want this to happen, and the higher self's like, oh, that's nice. Good luck with that. And because it just seems, Melbourne's gone woke, and we're progressive, and it's a lot of people. The amount of
it came on very fast all over the world. That whole line of propaganda that had a lot of real people to back it up, because they had figured out how to program people.
Yeah, and from the insanity of the government of the day, I think about a fifth of Victorians want to move out of the state because business is losing confidence because the harshest lockdown on the planet, and like we've still got a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and it's come out that the Premier just decided to put the police didn't ask for it, or the chief medical officer didn't ask for it, and so
somebody seized power.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and that's an interesting of like, I mean, people, if you want to go to the protests, just use discernment and see if you want to. For me, I'm just here to watch, and I can do that from here, because it's that whole fighting thing. If you start to fight, and I mean, just look at all the riots in the United States where Antifa think they're the good guys.
Yeah, but it's all paid. Most of that's paid opposition.
Yeah,
it's a giant political theater going on.
Yeah.
So let me broach the Trump subject for a second.
I was about to go.
You're about to go there. All right. What have you thinking about these new stuff, the Woodward tapes coming out?
I haven't heard. I've only seen one or two things where he was asked a question and Trump answered it, and then the media's twisted the whole scenario into something else. So I don't know exactly what Trump's actually said to Woodward.
Okay, so one of the things that Trump said is he purposely downplayed COVID because he didn't want to start panic. He knew how sick it was. He knew its death rate was. He knew all of that February 3rd.
Yeah. Now, also, well, maybe a bit of context. He was being impeached, and there was sort of chaos. So
yes, all that was going on. All that was going on or ended by then. But he fully understood the death rate of what was happening, which then contradicts the entire Trump versus COVID scenario. Okay.
Yeah, because the Trump campaign puts forward, and I can sort of see where they're coming from, is that whenever he brought in that travel ban for the Chinese, I don't know what time that was. However, he was being called a racist for bringing it in, and this is the other thing.
Well,
everything's not black and white.
That's that woke stuff coming through. Whatever the charges of negativity are going to be. I brought that one up for a reason, because it's a poke in the eye of what actually happened in his own voice.
Oh, okay.
And it can be spun many ways. I'm not trying to spin it one way or another. That's the subject matter that's going to be of a lot of a contention between now and November 3rd. We're about to see a lot more whistleblowers come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I sort of mentioned on Planet Collingwood that we have two options. Well, there might be a third, but maybe they'll be long reach. You've got Trump being re-elected, or you have Biden. And I don't know if it's the way that the narrative is being played out on a certain level of trying to wake people up, broad spectrum. But it's like, Trump's not the best, but dear God, look at the other side. because like Biden has no idea what every time he makes a speech now and he fluffs. He actually said that Trump wants to defund the police. You know, it's the whole Biden thing. It's moving from comedy into tragedy. How it's all unfolding.
It's been a tragedy for a very long time.
Yeah, no, maybe it's just me. I have to let go of the comedy and go into tragedy.
Right.
So the false choice that we've put forward is, you know, Orange Man bad or dear God, Satan's coming back.
Well, Trump, love him or hate him, right now is all about Trump and Trump alone.
Well, that sounds like him.
The individual man is battling for his individual life right now, and he's not an ideologue who will sacrifice himself for an ideology. His only thing he'll sacrifice himself is for himself.
Yeah.
Now, I think what's coming up here is a Trump win the popular election but lose the electoral college, which allows the Republicans to be saved as a two-party system and not instantly separate at the end of losing.
Yeah, no, and that's interesting because that's what happened to Hillary as well as Al Gore. So I can see the chaos coming out of that, where the exact same thing that helped the Republicans get power made them lose power. And so it's almost like I got this from Mad Magazine. An elephant has downed a lot of laxatives and is pointing its ass at the ceiling fan.
Pretty much.
When that baby blows, everyone
better watch out. Exactly. The swamp is drained.
Yeah, and that elephant remembers everything.
So it's all about if the 110 companies that run the world want to decide to save a two-party system. Okay, and that will determine where we are in the graduating journey of the ever journey of awakening, not awake today. You're awake today, you're not awake today.
Yeah, as you said, the troubles.
Yes.
I love the Irish for that. Oh, we don't talk about the troubles. You had a religious civil war.
Yes, we are in the time of troubles.
Yeah, Jesus talking to his dad. Really? Like, you love your fellow man, unless he's wearing orange. People.
You know, Trump has earned the hate. Don't love him or hate him. He's earned his hate.
Oh, he's a troll in a certain aspect. He knows what he's doing in the way he, as an example, at the convention. I liked the Republican convention more than the Democratic one, just from what they were showing. It was more upbeat and it's more showy and everything else like that. The Democratic one is like, oh. However, they were chanting 4 more years. And if I hear that one more time in my reality, and I'm talking past lives, just 4 more, go away. But Trump actually said, oh, if you really want to upset them, say 12 more years. And guess what the media did? They took that little like, he's trying to be a Hitler. He's trying to be a Putin. And he knows what he's doing.
But the thing is, he keeps putting out side interviews with side people that confirms I'm not going to leave office. Because he's set up the I'm not going to leave office if I can't pardon myself. Okay? Because what's he going to do? Give the retire and have Pence because he can't do himself. He would have to have Pence absolve him of all sins, and then it's on Pence to go to jail. Who's going to be left in the actual jail bucket?
Yes, I've seen people that hate Trump. Oh, he's corrupt, and you have to take him down. It's like, please go ahead.
But the Democrats are the Democrats are just as corrupt.
That's what that's what I was saying.
Okay?
Take Trump down because he will take everybody.
Trump will he'll take everyone down with him.
Yeah. Which
is what I was saying in an earlier phone call. We needed Trump to play that role, to break the iron grip of corruption.
Yeah.
Because by putting something so greedy there that it would break the whole system.
Yeah, I totally understand because it's instead of we didn't need another Obama. It's like, well, he's smooth and he's sexy and he was terrible, but if you have Trump coming in and being Trump, it just shined a light on the whole thing. Like 4 years ago, between 4 years ago and now, a lot more people know about American politics, like the machinations and and the
not
structure.
To mention there are a lot of people that have realized that civics class taught us a lot that they are completely going against all the laws on the books and no one's saying anything about it.
Same here with Australia as well, because they're talking about constitution and the governor general and the governor, all that type of stuff. Because after, quick side note, the governor general, which is like the representative of the Queen federally in Australia, back in 1975, they fired the government. Very Australian. No, you're fired, get out. Up until then, they taught in schools that Australia actually had a constitution, and they didn't change the mechanism of the governor general firing the government. What they did was they stopped teaching that there was a constitution.
Classic British style.
Yeah, it's like, we don't think you need to know about that. But yeah, the Constitution really hasn't changed from that much. And then you've got the Australia Act in 1986, where, no, we're free and independent of England. Then why is the Queen our sovereign and all on our money still? We'll wait till she dies. Why? What, we're being nice to her?
Exactly.
Yeah,
okay.
And they tried to, in 1999, they tried to have a referendum for should Australia become a republic. On paper, it sounds good, but the question was, instead of like, do you want to buy a car? It was, do you want to buy a burnt out Model T Ford or a Ford Pinto? Well, I don't want either one. Oh, you don't want a car then? Well, yeah, what? No.
See, so we need to fire everyone in government here. And start a fresh race without the 110 companies running the narrative, or expand our representation to hundreds of thousands or millions.
Well, I
would like to have 15 to 20% public representation in something deciding our laws.
Yeah, isn't that? I think that's in the Constitution. Like the Congress, it's only 150,000 represented or something. Like the Capitol building needs to have renovations to actually hold all the representatives.
Yeah.
Can you talk about
you'd have to end DC as the center of energetic and magical power, and that's ultimately the Mason energy and the secret societies that's keeping everything locked at that linear time frequency.
That won't happen.
If you were to move the president out of the White House, there could be tremendous freedoms done for this world.
Oh, nice.
Right.
It'll take a while, but yeah. Because in Switzerland, they have direct voting, where I think the populace actually has power to choose most things instead of giving their power to a representative.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that's a perfect system, but it's slightly better.
Representative government is no better than any other form of government. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, okay. They're not. Some are way worse than others, but they all don't do good for the human being at the end.
Yeah. So
as soon as there's a bureaucracy created, the corruption is ingrained into it.
Yeah, because on the latest Planet Collingwood, I brought up the idea because remember when you said we need a politician that will campaign on anti-corruption. And I mentioned that once on my show, and a nanosecond went by when everyone said, "Oh, that won't happen." They weren't even open to the idea. I'm like, this is going to take a while then. And so the question was, we should get rid of government, and I should be able to choose my own destiny type thing. Eventually, yes, but it can't happen tomorrow. Because imagine the chaos. I mean, you have problems when people just put an extension onto the end of their house. And if I can use that example. So like, what would be, I mean, we'll have to have transition, but what would be a better way of, because I don't like saying hierarchy because it's been weaponized and stuff, but going to like the First Nations of America by having a council and stuff like this you sort of need a pyramid-esque.
No, you don't.
Okay, well,
you need a powerful civics organization that has teamwork and management to get all the civics projects that are done, taking it out of the hands of the government to raise money for itself, because most governments have to raise money off their local people and their local taxes to get local things done.
Yeah.
You got to stop that process from the ground up, where the civics organizations is funded by the overall system to make sure all that stuff's done on time and that everyone gets employed because of all the subsidiary industries that make sure that happens all the time. Okay. As well as the building of the houses, you take that out of the commercial hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as we jokingly say, there's alien races that like what you pay rent on the planet you were born on.
Right. There's plenty of room for everyone, every human being in here to have their own little plot of land. Why do we need borders? We need borders to define governments who collect taxes, who take your civil rights and powers away.
Mm. This is true. Yes, like even in Australia today, the states have border closures, which apparently is unconstitutional because it's supposed to be a federal thing. But and with all the information that's coming out with COVID, like apparently the World Health Organization, because if I say WHO, I just think doctor, they have said that it's not really it's a highly infectious disease, but it's roughly similar to flu season.
I think they still have no clue what the sickness is.
Well, there is that as well. Yeah.
Otherwise, all of the answers would have been straight all throughout this.
Oh yeah, if you look back at the last 8 months of this year, it's like, well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm trying to follow the scientists who keep changing their point of view every 3 days. Masks are bad. Masks are good. Masks are bad again. Well, they could be good, but no. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So what to believe? And it's a sickness that requires your belief in it.
This is true. I don't know the number. They can call back.
Okay. So as we get closer and closer and closer to October 3rd, what do you think is going to happen?
Now, you mean November 3rd or October 3rd?
November 3rd. Sorry. November
okay,
3rd.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, I can sort of see having a look a month out because like the classic October surprise was like, it's 2020. What Papa Smurf's going to come back? Because the level of ridiculousness that 2020 is. Surprise. Like, yeah, whatever, dude. Repeat the question. What's happening? What do I say?
As we get closer, predict something that might happen in your point of view.
It might happen. Biden will drop out because of health issues.
How close to the election?
Oh, I'm thinking 1st of November is what I kind of sense. I don't know if I'm tapping into.
So the bait and switch is on. Who takes his place? Because that would be fucking perfect as a bait and switch.
Yeah, because that's what it looks like with Kamala Harris. Is she seems to be coherent. But wouldn't that be if she stays VP, who would step in and like
as president?
Can you imagine if they brought Hillary back?
Oh, that would be a disaster.
I know.
That would be a fucking disaster.
Did you see the meme of like she was mouthing on? She did an interview at her house with Bill sitting next to her, and she's wobbling on about whatever. But I shared the meme where it had 2020 on her face, and Bill looks like, "What did I do with my life?" And you know, the all of us from 20, the rest of us, where it's like, really. Because but I don't know who else. I mean, people put forward Michelle Obama. It's like, well, what has she done apart from marry Barry?
Well, if it reaches the point that Biden's got to bow out of the race for health reasons, it's because of a heart attack.
It wouldn't be the aneurysms in his mental capacity. Yeah,
exactly, a heart attack or something along that line. And personally, the only person, okay, this is not the only. If you're going to use the civics laws to your advantage, Nancy Pelosi is in the order of attention to understand for who takes over the government if the president and the vice president are gone. If you put Nancy Pelosi in that position, it cancels all the chances of any determinant of government.
Yeah, but would she survive because she's acting like Queen? Who's the French Queen? Let them eat cake. Where like she had her hair done in San Francisco, where no salons are open. So
what? She had her.
And let me finish. Let me finish. And then said they owe me an apology. Like she's doing that sort of like I referred to her as Queen Dick. She's got that attitude. Like she said, like she thinks that the Trump administration is enemies of the state, and this is the level of stupidity we're at, like on both sides.
That's the line of shit they're selling the liberals. And yes, Nancy Pelosi has to hold up the line of shit. That doesn't mean she doesn't know what's going on.
No, okay, fair enough.
Okay, just like Dennis McConnell, he sounds like a fucking goofball the last 4 years. Okay.
Well, that's sort of like I explained to people, when Trump won, the best thing that the Democrats would have done is find somebody that's likable, intelligent, and put forward policies to try and sway the American public of like, we can do better. But what we've had is we've had 4 years of Orange Man bad.
Yeah, because they didn't have the capacity to summon a liberal Trump who could have insulted him just as much as on stage, been brash, but still Trump liberal opposite, a liberal of Trump.
Yeah. Well, can you
who's
name
got the cool factor?
Can you name three or four?
They could. There were plenty that could have taken that place.
Okay, well,
but they chose not to pull the trigger on that.
Okay, because I'm just name one or two of them as an example. I'm not saying they should be, but like people like who?
What was the Democratic comedian senator? What was his name? Al
Franken.
Yeah. Oh, he was totally fucking Me Too'd off. He He could have easily taken that role. Easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just needed an example.
A former comedian that partied his ass off. I'm sure he got into some shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So what do we do? Just keep doing the whole self mastery and become.
That's the obvious. That's the obvious answer. Just don't be shocked when shit happens.
Yeah. Like I say, don't fear the unknown. Love the mystery. And so by knowing that this narrative is totally fake, out of control, and is written by a 5-year-old, there'll be still wow. There's a wow factor instead of shock, because that's very similar. If you know what I mean. Like
but you even got to take the wow out of it. And meh.
Well,
meh,
yeah. Well,
maybe a lull.
Now, by doing that, you're denying the energy exchange, aren't you?
From the fake narrative that's being generated, yes. Until there's a real narrative that has spunk and truth behind it.
Okay. Okay. So, a good way of explaining it is parents. When your kid's trying to look, mom. It's sort of that response.
Exactly. Exactly. Mom. Shut up. Mom, shut up. Mom, shut the fuck up.
That's the global narrative. It's a small child trying to get attention from the parents while driving.
Exactly. Don't make me turn over and pull this car over. That's what the Republicans are saying right now. And the Democrats, I'll pull this car over. You just push me one more step.
And certain Democrats, I'll flip this car.
Exactly.
I'll take a corner too quickly. Don't make me do that.
Exactly. You think I'm screaming now? I'm not screaming. I'm just getting warmed up.
Reminds me of that emo Phillips joke. My grandfather peacefully died in his sleep. Everyone else in the car was screaming.
Yay. So I want to put out my little on-air semi-prediction here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's the 9th today. Tomorrow will be the 11th.
10th today.
10th today. 10th right now. It's about to be the 11th.
Yes. Well, can you see anything happening publicly, anything happening on September 11th?
But not necessarily over the 11th, but on the weekend, yes.
Okay, well, that kind of makes sense, yeah. All right.
Do you remember how the Arab Spring started?
Wasn't it a vendor was set on fire?
Fruit vendor set himself on fire.
Set himself on fire. It was very reminiscent of the Buddhist protest in the 50s. Yeah.
Yeah. So this little fruit vendor set himself on fire because they took his fruit vending cart away, and that's all he had to feed his children.
Yep.
Yeah, of starvation. It was basically. we could see something very Arab Springish happen in Bulgaria, Poland, any of the former strongman states.
Is it going to be natural, or is it part of the left-right paradigm?
Both natural and part of the left-right paradigm.
Well, yeah, what I mean, it will probably play into the left-right paradigm because it will ramp up, but okay. All right.
Well, you have issues going on in Belarus already.
Yes.
It's making the common thing. And that's oligarchy territory, old money.
Yep.
That has never given up power through many different conquerors.
Mm.
Okay? That old money is fighting to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's fighting to stay relevant. And it's not giving the controls to the new children in the family.
Granddad needs to die. Yeah,
exactly.
You can't say that. It's your granddad. He's 146.
He's
He
a
needs to go on.
192-year-old vampire that feeds on blood.
Yes. It's bad optics for the company.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth with that area.
Yeah, I know. That's how we roll. Yeah.
That's how they roll. We could see some very odd stories coming out of those areas.
All right. Now clarify odd, because we are in September in 2020.
Cops pulled over a guy on the side of the road that looks like Wizard.
No, not like that Wizard in New Zealand, or like
okay. Wizard tells them their future. Wizard disappears.
So like a genuine wizard, not a guy that's just wearing
like a genuine wizard. Yeah. Something could bleed through. Oops.
So because that's part of what's been mentioned, where the energy is so intense that the barrier between the seen and the unseen world is like the veil is very thin, and the
veil was made in China there.
It's very fascinating when trying to manifest at the moment, personally.
Okay. Other things can start to appear. Suddenly a pack of cavemen are spotted in New York City.
So many comic books just came to mind.
Megalodon is real.
Yeah. All the chuds are coming up. All the chuds are coming up from the sewer. All the people have left, and now they're free. Like the dolphins in Venice.
These would be small little stories here and there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of they going to reach out into the narrative or not.
Is that the pockets of Dreamworld infiltrating the narrative because the narrative's losing power?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it can also be unseen forces trying to make seen things happen.
Also, okay, that's the fun part of being on this planet in this reality is both sides can do weird stuff to push whatever they want.
Yeah,
so
to push whatever
Team
they
Dark
want.
was like, well, let's have Loch Ness turn up in the Thames.
Versus, let's just say Loch Ness has proved to be a man-eating dinosaur. Then there's thousands of them, and they've evolved to learn to walk on land.
Yeah, and they have a Twitter account. Yeah,
they have a Twitter account,
and that's part of the. Instead of being scared or wow, you sort of response should be. It's very Gen X, as you would know. Your response to anything like this is like, well, of course it is. Okay. You sort of give up with the whole, oh my god. It's like, well yeah.
Somebody in Cabal marketing, realizing that evil Loch Ness monsters wasn't going to be enough of a good marketing campaign for worldwide domination.
I just like the response from the people. It's like, okay, why not? Like it's 2020. Like there's that meme of people have event bingo. And the one I shared, which got a laugh, one was these crocodiles got into a cocaine stash, and it's like, who had the coke sniffing crocodiles in August? And another one was at LAX. Plane was coming in, and a pilot actually said, "I can see a guy with a rockets pack."
Yeah, and three different planes spotted the same guy with a jetpack. Yes.
So, and the guy's like, who had Mandalorians for September? it's getting that, it, as you said, it's turning into a Three Stooges sketch, and I've tweaked that written by Monty Python. You're getting to that point where it's just a better way of just laughing at it, because it's that whole thing of like, okay, you just let things unfold instead of like, oh, I'm scared. I'm like, okay, sure, yeah. Trump's meeting Papa Smurf in the Rose Garden. Yeah, all right.
Well, with all these computer handle names, you never know. Papa Smurf might be the white hat.
Well, yeah, apparently it's CGI, but I shared on Twitter, there's footage of a pig on a ball with a piece of paper in its mouth, and it's going through a turnstile at a New York subway station. And so I shared it with like, I'm going to tell my kids this is the only thing that happened in 2020. And it's really cute, just the pig just walking on a ball.
Right. All right, Monty, we're at the end of the show. Why don't you give a way for people to get a hold of you?
I am on YouTube at Wafer Thin Entertainment, and on Twitter at Real Monty Dean. At the moment, my name is Sir Monty Dean because I've knighted myself. On Facebook, just as Monty Dean, as well as on Instagram as Monty.Dean.
And you all know who I am. You can go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. Find me on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and anything else that I didn't mention. We will be back tomorrow for our comedy show, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We intend to offend. Come with your sticks already removed out of your serious asses so we can have some fun. All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail.
Improvise.
Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.